So now to the cheat sheets. This is a bit where I share with you lots of different ideas and lots of different thoughts on how you can work your way through. Now, they're always a suggestion. They're only because of the fact I've spent so many years as a journalist and as a therapist and as a businessman. I know the first steps that I would take. Once you've gone through the different cheat sheets that I've created, then feel free to Google and that well, feel free anyway to Google. It's your Google. It's worthwhile looking at the bits that are sticky on it where you're going, I don't know what Dave means by that, and wonder what I would mean by Googling it. And then you find whole sections on that. The cheat sheets are intended to just get you to move slightly faster forward, or at least to give you some kind of basic roadmap on where you should be going to create some kind of happiness. So this is based on how to be deliriously happy for life. And hopefully at the end of this, you won't be deliriously happy, but at least you'll be able to get over those challenges and those anxieties that can feel like shackles around you that make it really difficult for you to be able to move forward and find the levels of happiness that you truly deserve. Okay, so first of all, how to live in a world that you hate. Let's start with this. Understand the nature of hate. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, and it's a really useful thought to have. When you hate somebody, you don't hate the person. What you hate is the things about you that you don't like, that you see reflected in them as part of their values or some of the things that they do all the time. So when you reject somebody because they don't like them, you don't like it that they do stuff that you dislike about yourself. So they're actually a reflection of you. So when you don't like things about the world around you, in fact you hate them, let's just say hate, even though I think hate's a very, very strong term that you should use very sparingly because it codes its stuff into your mind that sometimes it's really hard to shake off. You understand that the nature of hate is just basically a very, 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 very intense dislike plus stress plus anxiety plus a number of other things that could be there to challenge you. So it's not necessarily that you hate something, but it is down to you to find a way of dealing with it as well. So as I say, the world doesn't hate you, but the world doesn't actually care about you either. You have to make the world care if that's what you're after. If one of your values is significance and to get people to want to be paying attention to you, then you have to give a reason for people to pay attention. Some people do that, for instance, by literally wanting secondary gain. And secondary gain is often a reason behind behavior that doesn't work for us particularly well. So let me give you an example. Somebody who smokes on a regular basis. Why would you smoke? Well, a secondary gain is when you have a cigarette, you feel peaceful and you can relax to the point where it programs you so you only feel relaxed with a cigarette. But the cigarette is killing you, and the killing you is getting you stressed. And so that getting you stressed makes you feel anxiety. And because you're anxiety and stressed, you'll have a cigarette. So the secondary gain is that you do a behavior which has something different that it helps you with, but it doesn't really help you with the same problem. So let's take, for instance, somebody who cries about themselves at parties, sometimes have a drink and it all comes out. You know, oh goodness me, don't give him a drink. Why? Tries to put the worlds to rest and then gets really emotional. And you know people like that, or you did in the time we used to have parties. Well, the secondary gain is sometimes that by crying about themselves, they get all this free love from everybody. Oh, are you okay? Come, let's sit. Just make sure they're all right. So they don't have to fix their problem, because if they do fix their problem, they won't get people coming over for free and spending quality time with them, telling them that they make them feel better. Does that make sense? Secondary gain. Okay. All right. Number 3, list what you're uncomfortable with. Make a long list of them all. If something's bothering you, write down all the things that bother you. Now, don't get too focused on that list, apart from to write it out once, because we're going to get rid of it. If you bring whatever you focus on, you start to tell your mind and program more of it. So, for instance, when somebody goes to a psychiatrist, or a shrink, as they used to call them, and they spend time with a shrink saying, well, you know, I'll do this, and when I was a child, that happened, and the shrink goes, let me write down a list of all the different problems and ailments that you have. Suddenly they start wearing that as a badge, not seeing a big bit of paper stuck to your shirt, because that would look really stupid, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
But what I'm talking about is the fact that you start to think that all these labels are you. These labels are not you. These labels are just something at that time that somebody else has decided might be useful for you to know what they might be. So be very careful about how you use these labels and make sure that you're able to list them so you can get rid of them. That's all you got. So work out why each one bothers you so much. If somebody says to me, Dave, you're short and fat. Okay, so what? I don't have to be a friend, but I am kind of funny, and I love the way that my life is. If I want to deal with being short and fat, I can deal with being fat, I can work out. Being short, am I going to walk around on stilts? No, that's what I was given to play with. And at no point in my life have people turned around to me and said to me, you're short, so you're insignificant. I would not for a second put up with that shit. Sorry, I said a bad word then.
Right away.
I know.
Sure thing.
I know.
Certainly.
It's a bad word.
For the last time, no.
I won't say it again. But it was worth money, and it did make me feel better. Less stress. Ooh, new stress toy. Less stress when you let it all out, let it all hang out sometimes. So work out why it bothers you so much, and sometimes there's a secondary gain behind it. Maybe sometimes it uncovers something about you that's true that you didn't really want to deal with. And if you do have that, and you do get things that come down to that really upset you, then maybe what you just do is accept it and go, you know what, I can't change it. I can't change being short, but why would I? I can't change the color of my skin, but why would I? The people who are offended by the color of my skin can go and kiss it. The people who like me don't notice it anyway. And I'm proud of it because that's what I'm sharing with my daughter. And my wife is a similar color. My family and everybody I love can be any color. I don't care. So don't let anything bother you, but that's nothing wrong with accepting it and realizing that it's a thing. And sometimes it is a thing. But hopefully the world is going to go and snap back into a world where everyone feels closer and they cherish and they enjoy diversity rather than the way it's been going in certain countries and countries I used to love, where people are going, no, we don't want to play with you because you're different from the way we are. That's horrible. It's a wrong direction. And I don't get political, but that's one of the things I hate about the world right now. But that's not my world. My world is full of wonderful people of different colors and different thoughts and ideologies. And I even enjoy hearing about people who are like that because it lets me know that the world is a whole load of different people put together. And it also allows me to understand that we're in a world where if you can define what's going on, there are very few surprises that can come back and hurt you. If you know what's the worst possible thing, somebody could be racist to you and not give you an opportunity, then that's fine. If that's the worst thing, I've got my head around it already. I just won't play with those people. Does that make sense? So therefore, reframing it is important. And number 5 is all about that. Once you've worked out it bothers you, chunk it down to individual bricks of a wall. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, when you've got a problem, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. The idea is that a big forest, can't see past it, too many trees. Or a brick wall right in front of you, stopping you from going where you need to. But you don't have to get past the wall. All you have to do is remove a few bricks, and then you can see straight through it. Move enough bricks, you can move straight through it. You don't have to knock the whole wall down. Just remove 1 or 2 bricks and repeat. So with that, it's often a very good way to examine it just by moving individuals and chunking them down, and then all the other things don't really matter that much because they weren't really bothering you. It just seemed like it was quite a lot facing you at that time. So for instance, let's take an example. You've got a challenge at work. You've fallen out with somebody, and so everybody started working against you because it feels like that because they disagree with what you did and they agree with that person was in the right or whatever. If you can turn around and apologize to that person and say, you know what, I was in the wrong, even if you don't care, but you can do it and they accept you, everyone comes back in, done. Challenge disappears. And you might say, Dave, that's being honest.
No.
Don't do that.
No.
Be true to yourself.
Of course.
Well, yes and no. Do you want the problem to go away or not?
Why not?
Exactly. So just do what it takes.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, so reframe everything to give you something you can deal with instead. Because with that, you can have something that you can take to the bank and makes a big difference. Because when you can do stuff that you can win with, then it also takes away the problem of feeling lonely and feeling miserable. And so number 7 is this: work out what does make you feel miserable. And when you do work out what makes you feel miserable, move on to do this. Number 8. Which negative things, which negative people are influencing you in your life? Because being miserable, unless it's a chemical reaction to something, in which case you can take stuff for it, or you can just meditate or do breathing exercises that change a lot of this. Sometimes it's caused by an outside stimuli. An event comes along, you don't get the result you wanted. People come along and they make your life really difficult. Work out what they are and work out a better way of dealing with them. Once you've worked out what they are, what I do is very simple. I just don't play with them anymore. On this list here, number 9, remove them, ignore them, reframe your relationship with them, neutralize the impact they have, or just replace them. And you're saying, but Dave, you can't do that. How can you replace members of your family? Well, you can ignore them. Well, are you meant to do that? Well, yes, if they're doing you damage. If they're living in the house with you, then just go la 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 in your head quietly, a lot louder than the grief that they're giving you. Don't do it out loud in front of them, because if you go la 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 la, you'll probably get one of them. And that will not be good, because then you'll be stickling your stress toy, and they know you've got a stress toy, and they know that you wound up, and that's not going to help you. It's just going to get you more wound up.
Right away.
So therefore, it's really important that you do choose the best action that will allow you to be able to move forward on your own. Anything. Remove, ignore, reframe, neutralize, or replace. Especially for life coaches, because you're going to be spending a lot of time helping people with this. Number 10, stop doing the things that you hate and stop pleasing others. But I like pleasing others. Yeah, I know you like pleasing others. I like pleasing others as well, but not to the point where it hurts me. On a plane, and I've used this analogy many times, that if you ever fly again, the stewardesses, if we ever see them again, I don't even know if they do it anymore. They used to tell you where the fire exits were. They're here, here, and here. You've seen that before. But they also say to you, if an oxygen mask comes down, then put it on yourself first before you apply it to anybody else. Because if you put it on your kids, and your kids can breathe properly, but there's smoke coming up inside the cabin, and I'm really sorry if you're flying right now, or you're going to be flying soon, but with smoke coming up in the cabin, you cannot rely on your kids to lift you off the plane. So you put it on you first, and then you got enough oxygen to grab your kids and then start heading towards the exit. And the same is true for elements in your life. Fix and work out what makes you happy, so then you've got an abundance of happy to help other people. Now, some people enjoy the secondary gain of feeling rotten all the time and feeling negative. Now, that's their call, but it doesn't have to be you. For me, I prefer to be happy. And sometimes I like feeling crappy, because then I know that I'm going to feel better afterwards. There's a rainbow dew, and sometimes it's a nice temperature gauge for me to feel terrible. So therefore I can say, right, okay, stop. These are indicators around me saying that my world is wrong. I want to feel good again. What should I get rid of? It's like, for instance, when you feel sick and you get a temperature when you're not well. That's your body saying to you, slow down, don't ignore this. If your body didn't tell you that, and he carried on working through the ailments, there's a very good chance you'd drop dead. So pay attention to the clues around you. They are there for a reason. Sometimes you should ignore them. I do work generally through most of the illnesses that come to me, but also I've got an environment where I'm working relatively isolated, as we all do. So there's ways and means of making it effective for you. Okay, find positive anchors and build a brand new ecosystem. My ecosystem changes all the time. You may have noticed I sometimes say yes.
Sure thing.
And I sometimes say yes again.
Certainly.
And I sometimes say no.
I said no.
Just like that. And I attribute it to Groot, who looks a little bit goneless over there. Groot, are you okay?
Of course.
Thank you. So that could be my way of doing it. And I find anchors that make me happy all the time. And sometimes I use them in the show, and sometimes I don't. I've not used Black Panther for a little while, but Black Panther makes me happy, especially after we lost Chadwick Boseman early in the year, as well as many other people that we lost early in the year. So I create anchors and things that make me feel good. The show makes me feel good. I reach thousands of people every day. I help enrich their lives, and I feel that I'm qualified to be able to do better every day. So I push myself. If I didn't have the show, doing this show, I'd have to find some other outlet, maybe writing a blog, or maybe coaching or something, but I combine them all together and it's really exciting. So you've got to find what works for you. What's your outlet? What's your anchor? And what's your new ecosystem? Remember when we looked at the cheat sheets before? We looked at that whole thing, and at the bottom was your environment. Have you got a good environment that's conducive for you to then start working on the best version of you? If you haven't, then you won't be able to start it at all because the basics aren't in place. Does that make sense?
Why not?
Thank you. All right then. So next up at number 12 is this one. You've got to do meditation or breathing or hypnosis or yoga or watching telly, whatever it takes to allow you to feel better. Now, I will be, at some point in the future, sharing with you the art of living. I will be moving on to getting interviews with people live on the show as well. And I'll chat to Kurtie and I'll chat to Ilan and maybe some other people as well about it. I'll be getting tech on the shows. I'll be bringing on some experts on a load of different subjects in coming shows as well. I'm very excited about it because I've been setting it all up. But as I mentioned, all the time, I'm increasing what I do with a show. Every day, I've got to bring something new to the table that I hadn't been doing before. And it's also part of my Jump and Grow Wings idea, which is the fact I've got to challenge myself. It could go wrong. It could make a real idiot of me.
Yes.
But at the same time, it could be really lucrative. And it positions me really well for being able to work with people and say, this is what I do. Can I help you do it with you? And then people turn around and they say,
Absolutely.
So next up on the list is number 13. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Your brain is a supercomputer. Your brain will find more examples of whatever you focus on. So if you focus on negative stuff, your brain will say, right, the boss is interested in negative stuff. Let's find more negative stuff for him to look at or her to look at. If you focus on the good things that you want in your life, your boss will go, right, let's get more of them. Small victories. Sometimes, I mean, we're not going to get out of lockdown. We're not going to get rid of COVID overnight. We're not going to find a vaccine overnight. But what you can do is have little victories that make you feel better. Little things that just, it might be eating cheese makes you happy. So every now and again, pop out and eat some cheese. It just makes you go, and you feel a ton better. Little victories. For me, and I've emptied them, this was full of M&Ms. And I hadn't touched this. I hadn't even noticed it was empty for about a week or so now. Why? Because I'm so engrossed doing other stuff. I'm enjoying other stuff. So I didn't need to pop an M&M when I was feeling a little bit low and needed a bit of a sugar rush. So small victories to start you off is very important. And it doesn't matter what they are, the victories for you. Other people might not think it's important, but you, it's very important. All right, number 14, stay busy. Okay? Fewer distractions that hijack your ability to stay busy. And I say stay busy, you can be busy and focused watching TV. If that doesn't depress you about the fact that you're not doing enough watching TV. I watch a lot of TV, I've got to be honest, but I do it to wind down. Well, not actually, I don't watch a lot of it. I do it when I've just had enough. I'm just tired, I need a reward, my brain is a bit fried. I'll just watch TV and drool. And that's much. I don't actually drool. I'm just saying that I drool. If I drool, it'd be horrible. And especially wearing a white shirt, I'd be just covered in a patch like that, and it just looked terrible. If I did drool, I'd probably watch TV like this. See, so I could catch it. That tastes nice, but as I'm drinking it, I'm thinking, am I drinking drool? Let's change the subject. Let's go back to number 15, which is the final part of this. And number 15 is this: get help. Professionals and free videos online all over the place. You can hire somebody who'll work with you specifically. You can get coaches who are giving their time on their energy and expertise for free. Or you can hire them, which is better because you probably get a better quality person because they do it for a living, and so they know they're going to be judged by the results that they get for you. But if you're just starting off, go online, have a look at YouTube, put the subject in and watch a video on it. A video on anxiety. Last night I pulled together 3 videos I shared with you today. It's not difficult to find them, but it is difficult sometimes to diagnose exactly what your problem is or your challenge is and how you can fix them. And so with that, sometimes it's useful to be able to just search around for a bit, watch a few videos to indicate what the challenges you might have, finding your challenges, and then from there you can move on. So I'm going to let you take a copy of this. You might want a screen share of how to live in a world that you hate. That's today's subject, all about anxiety and stress relating to your environment and how you can reframe yourself to be able to deal with it. Feel free to take a copy of this and share it with anybody else who might feel that they need something. Love your thoughts, love your comments, love the things that you say. It really does make a difference. Sometimes I do a funny show. Sometimes I do a semi-serious show. Sometimes I do a show where I really want to have an impact and help people specifically. And this is kind of one of those shows. So it's not as funny as it can be, but hopefully you're getting some genuine good stuff out of it.
Right away.
Is that a yes?
Sure thing.
Well, why don't you just say yes?
Certainly.
Why don't you just say yes?
Of course.
Say yes.
Why not?
Say yes.
Yes.
Thank you.